Welcome back to math. Today we're on module 3, lesson 5. We're going to be subtracting fractions with unlike units. Now a unit is the bottom number. So we have a half and we have a third. So the question is, how do we draw this out? Well, we're drawing out a half. That means we're going to draw a line down the middle. Wow, that's not good. All right, I like that better. And then I'm going to lighten what? I'm going to shade in what? One of the two, right? Because that's what the top number means. I'm going to shade in one of the two. Now, what am I going to do over here on this side? Do I want vertical lines or horizontal lines? Horizontal lines. And I'm just going to show you this. I could draw my half line, right? But to make a third, it has to be a little above and a little below, about the same amount. And then I can get rid of my half line. And look, there's thirds, huh? Which is larger, a half or a third? A half. When the number on the bottom is smaller, it's a bigger piece. Sounds weird, doesn't it? Yeah. It's the opposite of what we think. Now, how many of these do I want to shade in? One. I'm going to shade in one. All right. Can I take this away from this? No, I can't, because I don't know how to do that. So what am I going to have to do to make these the same? I'm going to have to draw one vertical line from our half in the third, right? I'm going to change my color so you can see where it is, okay? And then what am I going to do on this side? I'm going to draw my third lines, right? It's like these lines right here. They're just drawn right over there. Okay. What's our bottom number going to be? How many units do I have in each box now? 6. So I have a 6 here, right? How many did I cut this one up into? How many units? 6. So I can put my subtraction sign there. Now, how many of them have been shaded in? 3. And how many have been shaded in here?
2.
Now, do you notice that on subtraction problems, we always have the larger number that we start with? It's kind of like the total. We're starting with the total, the big number first, and then we're going to take a little away from it, and we're going to end up with a little over here. Right? So let's do that. But how do we want to show that we're taking them away? How do we want to show that we're going to take those 2 away? I'm going to say let's cross them off. What do you think?
Yeah.
So I'm going to cross this one off, which means I can cross this one off, right? And I'll cross this one off, and I can cross this one off. Is that correct?
Yes.
So let me draw my lines in my box. I've got my half line, right? And then I've got my thirds line. How many areas do I need to shade in my answer box? How many units do I need to shade in? How many units?
1, 2, 2.
Okay, well, it looks like this one was crossed off here. This one was crossed off here. So I only have how many units left? I only have 1 unit left. So I should shade in how many units? 1 unit. So what's my answer? 1/6. Or we could say 3 minus 2 is 1, and our bottom number, since it's the same, it stays the same. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you see how we did that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's do another problem to give you a little more practice, shall we?
Yeah.
I'm going to push this up. You know what? I think I'm just going to erase. It'll make it easier. All right. Okay, let's say I have 1/3 and I'm going to subtract 1/4. I have 1/3 and I'm going to subtract 1/4. Now, as you're working at home, you can pause this and make sure you draw it out. Okay? So, how do I make my third? I can draw my middle line, right? Like my half line, and then I can put one on each side. And that's going to give me my third. So I could do it like that, right? Or you could just practice by drawing thirds. That's a good way too. Now what am I going to put over on this side?
One half.
I'm going to draw my half line. And then what's a fourth? A fourth is a half of a half, right? Now how much do I shade in for my 1/3? One of them. And how much do I shade in for my 1/4? One of these. Okay. Now how do I get them to be equivalent fractions? How do I make them equivalent? What do I need to draw over here? Vertical or horizontal lines? Horizontal lines, right. So just like I'm drawing my lines from there. Okay. And then how many lines do I need to put in my fourths one? I need to cut up that into thirds, right? 2 vertical lines. Now what do I have here? How many boxes, how many units do I have? How many boxes do I have?
12.
I've got 12, right? Okay, so I'm gonna put my 12 down below. How many do I have on this one? I've got 12. I got the same number, don't I? And then how many do I have for my top number for this one? 4. And how many do I have for my top number for this one? 3. Okay. Wow, we could do that easily by saying 4 minus 3 is 1, and our bottom number stays the same. It's a 12. But let's show that. Let's demonstrate that in our drawing, okay?
Okay.
And then I had my third lines, right? Now I can cross them off, right?
Yep.
Can I cross them off? Okay, so I'm going to take this one and I'm going to cross it off of here. Do you see, do you understand what I'm doing?
Yes.
Because subtraction is like taking it away, right? Okay, I'm going to take this one away from here, right? Does that make sense? And then the last one I'm going to cross off and I'm going to take away from here. How many units are still shaded in? 1 out of 12, right? So I can shade this one in if I like, or if you want to just carry it over and say it's this one on the corner, so I'm going to shade that one on the corner in, that's fine. So I have 1/12, don't I? So I showed you in a drawing, and I also showed you mathematically in a, what's this called? An algorithm. An algorithm. Okay? Are you with me? Okay? And that is the way you do your subtraction of fractions by drawing them out. Does that make sense? Okay. If you don't get this, go back over it. I think it should make sense, but keep trying, remember. Just keep drawing them out. I love math.